Hi, Doug Joy here with the Michigan Golfer Magazine. I'm here today with Steve Smyers, and Steve built LochenHeath Golf Course up in Traverse City, Michigan some years ago, and I'd like to know just what kind of design challenges you had with the topography up in Michigan. It's so different from Florida.
Well, it is different from Florida, but even though I do live in Florida, at that time I'd worked around the world. We started in 1999, the fall of 1999, and opened in the fall of 2001. We have revisited LochenHeath because it is 15 years old right now, 14 years old. We have done a master plan for LochenHeath, and hopefully over the next couple of years we'll slowly work on that to kind of bring the golf course back to its original luster and kind of plan for the future.
What are the major changes for the future, do you think, for LochenHeath?
You know, it's kind of interesting. We kind of lost some of the landscape through the years there, so we're going to introduce the landscape back into the golf course, the native grasses, the native wildflowers, things of that nature. And then it's kind of interesting. In 1999, we sat down with the owner at that particular time, and we decided to design the greens to run 9 on the Stimpmeter, and they function wonderfully at 9 or 10 on the Stimpmeter. But because of modern day expectations, greens are rolling a little faster, and that does two extra feet on the Stimpmeter. We got to go back and address some of the greens and kind of soften them up to get a little more hole locations on them.
I remember one of the holes that I played. My second shot into the green was it looked like the green was sloping hard to the right. So I thought, well, I'll put my second shot in up on the left-hand side of the green, and I was just past the left-hand side of the green on my second shot, but it didn't hold. It rolled all the way off to the right and went off the green.
Right.
What's going on here? What happened there?
Well, I think that's part of the thing. If it had been rolling at 9, it would have stayed on the green. That was it right there. So those are some of the things that we're going to address.
Okay.
You know, the game, like I say, the game has evolved, and it's constantly evolving. So that's why so many of our architects right now are very busy, just going back, revisiting golf courses, and preparing them not only for today's play but for tomorrow's play.
Steve, which of the holes up in LochenHeath most come to your mind about being spectacular?
Well, the 7th hole was just a hole that God made, and we found. It really is. It's a very good. It's a downhill par 5, and the strategy of the hole is there's a forest on the right hand side, so you want to kind of hug the tree line on the right, and a very, very elite player, if he hits it along the right hand side, will have a flat lie and be able to attack the green from a flat lie with probably a fairway metal, and the green is a bit of a punch bowl, and you have the ideal angle, and you can work all the contours ideally from that angle and that type of lie into the green. If you shy away and hit to the fat part of the fairway, you're going to have a left to right lie, which is a ball below, well, for a right-handed player, the ball would be below your feet, and it's going to encourage you to hit a left to right shot, where the green will be receptive to a right to left shot.
Well, Steve, among other things, has been designated one of the leading architects of the next generation and one of the most influential architects of his generation. That's a mouthful, but meanwhile, you are the president of the American Society of Golf Course Architects. And what on earth does that mean that you're doing?
Well, right now I'm representing all of our members around the country. We've got a very talented group of architects in every corner of the country and in Canada. And Mexico, as a matter of fact. So we're here. I'm here representing them as we venture through our careers.
And at your annual meeting, you gather with your red plaid jackets for at least one photo. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, we're a very identifiable group. You should see it when we go to the United Kingdom. We really stick out there. Yeah.
Steve, you came here from Texas when you were a teenager. You went to junior high school and high school in Texas, but you wound up over here at USF in Florida. How did that happen?
University of Florida.
University of Florida, yeah?
Well, you know, I was fortunate. I actually met a fellow by the name of Doug Sanders, who was a well-known golfer of that generation. And Doug, I played golf with him. I played pretty good, and he recommended me to the golf coach there. And I ended up at the University of Florida playing golf. and just was infatuated with going to school in Florida. They had a great golf coach and a great golf program then, and an excellent university as well.
So you have a degree in business, and you're an architect. How does that come together?
You know, back in those days, golf architecture really wasn't. It wasn't really popular. Nobody really knew who the architects were. I was introduced by an architect in college. He hired me, and I just was enamored with the business. So I'm more or less self-taught with this business. I did take some engineering courses and whatnot, but architecture itself, I pretty much studied and taught myself. Read all the history books, traveled around the world studying all the great golf courses, and basically interacting with all the modern day architects, and still do today. Just so I guess I never really had a mentor, but I would say that every architect in the business has been my mentor.
Well, one of the things I heard you mention earlier was that the game of golf has constantly evolved, and you mentioned one thing that was kind of funny, which was an early change in the golf ball itself.
Right. Well, you know, when we talk about the history and traditions of the game, which I'm a very traditional person, you know, one of the biggest things that sticks out to me is the game has always been innovation. The innovation of the game has always been the cornerstone of the growth and the prosperity of the game. That's why it's taken off. That's why we've got 50 million golfers around the world. And it really started in 1902 when Spalding put dimples on the golf ball to create lift and drag. So that way we could get the golf ball up in the air. And as I mentioned, I've got an article in the London Daily Telegraph dating back to 1902 that talks about what architects are going to do about the ridiculous length the golf ball is being hit of the day. So that discussion's never changed. And I think the thing that I've learned the most about it is, as architects, we just need to learn to deal with it. We need to be forward-thinking, creative, innovative people that can deal with these type of situations. And the game has always evolved. You know, we've always got better clubs that's coming on the market. The athleticism of the players is much, you know, by the younger players is much better than it was even when I was growing up. And the way we maintain turf has dramatically changed how we play the game of golf, and just dramatically changed how we design golf courses.
How does your playing inform your designs?
Well, you know, I think I've got a pretty thorough understanding of how the elite player plays and what confronts the elite player, and I think that's probably the biggest misconception in the game of golf. In order to challenge an elite player, it has to be punitive, and that's exactly the opposite, because they can work around hazards pretty good. It's the subtleties and intricacies that they have to make decisions, and once you start forcing them to make decisions like different awkward lies in the fairway and things like that, that's when you really get the elite player. And I'm going to use Nick Faldo. Nick Faldo, when he won the 1996 Masters on the 13th hole, he stood over his second shot, and he had a 5-wood in his hand, and the lie of the ball, and he put that 5-wood back behind the ball. The lie of the ball, the club just kept closing. He said, I'm going to hit it way left. So he made the decision to try to hit a long iron. And that was probably one of the best shots of his life. And he won the Masters. So those are the type of subtleties that an architect, by understanding the game of golf at an elite level, those are the type of subtleties you put into the game that confound the elite player. But the average player can very much play and enjoy the golf course.
About growing the game of golf, some of the things we've seen are more tees that are better for women to play, and also more family tees where they give a little kid a chance to hit from the fairway. What do you think about some of that?
Well, you know, I've always been as president of the American Society of Golf Course Architects, we're concerned about the health of the game. We want to keep the game healthy. We want to do it through all of our designs, and through the designs, it is very much about being open to players of all abilities. You know, we want to get the kids out there. We want to make it comfortable for the beginning ladies to get out there. Plus, we want to get it comfortable where the elite junior golfers can continue to go out and play and to continue to improve, because once they have the ability to feel that they can improve, they're going to everybody's going to keep wanting to play the game of golf. So the health of the game is extremely important to us. Yeah.
It has some beautiful bunkers, and bunkers are one of the things you're kind of known for. Can you tell us just a little bit before we finish up about your philosophy of sand?
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting. When I started my own business, my wife Sharon is from Australia, so and a good player. So we made a tour of all the sandbelt courses, and I did that once a year for 10 years. And they were all Alistair McKenzie courses, and he was known for his bunkering, and that had a huge impact on me. And you know, most of the sites that I have gained that reputation from are flat, mundane sites that are sandy soil. So we use that sand. That was our only feature that we could use. We didn't have topography, we didn't have vegetation, so we used the sand, and that reputation's kind of stuck. Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of sand in Florida here at Old Memorial, and plenty also at LochenHeath, so it's really kind of fun.
LochenHeath?
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, LochenHeath stands for Loch means lake, and Heathland is where the original inland golf courses of Great Britain Island start off, and the wonderful Heathland courses of United Kingdom or Sunningdale, Wentworth, and things like that. So we decided to name the golf course LochenHeath, and you've got wonderful views of the lake from the clubhouse, the first tee. On the 6th hole, you have wonderful views of you're right up next to the lake. You stay connected to it. It really doesn't come into play, but it gives you a real feel of the lake. And of course, the Heathland setting is, you know, with the wind there coming off the lake and the sandy soil there, it's very much what we did here at Old Memorial. Make the ground plane come alive. And so that's the LochenHeath of LochenHeath.
Wonderful. Thank you, Steve.
Okay.